Well, this campaign season, it seems the media has gone from observer to target. Donald Trump has made personal attacks against reporters, and his supporters have been joining in. Now, candidates in other races are following suit.
These people are among the most dishonest people I've ever met, spoken to.
After courting the press during the primaries to the tune of millions in free media, Trump now includes the press as part of the rigged system he says he's running against. And he's making it personal, like his constant jabs at NBC's Katie Tur.
There's something happening. They're not reporting it. Katie, you're not reporting it, Katie.
Also targeted for his reporting, Colin Campbell, a political reporter for the News and Observer in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's been blacklisted by Senator Richard Burr, a Republican running for re-election.
The North Carolina press won't write about it.
Burr's campaign told the paper, "This is an embargo on sending you scheduling details until you demonstrate the ability to cover this race from a balanced point of view." A view shared by other Republicans.
Politico, the Boston Globe, all of these organizations, CNN, in one way, fashion, or form, have been in the pocket of Hillary Clinton. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's totally brutal.
And Trump's attitude towards the press has spread to his followers.
Why do you guys constantly lie to us?
Their version of fair and balanced. So I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this either. I mean, you know, Katie Tur got beaten up by Trump over a year ago, and she got flummoxed because she was trying to be a tough interviewer, and he started making fun of her. And to her credit, she stuck with it. She's still on the race. But I mean, you know, calling people out by name. He called Tom Lamas a sleaze, and then he actually ended up giving Tom Lamas a one-on-one a few weeks ago. Some of it has worked because Tom was very timid when he did the one-on-one. So, I mean, it's this fight back. It's like this. It's all part of the same attitude of the campaign, and in some way it works because I think it does intimidate people.
You know, the only, in my experience, the only time I've seen this happen so aggressively, we've always had particularly Republicans attacking the media. You had Spiro Agnew with the negative nabobs of negativity or whatever that was. But George Wallace in his campaigns in '72, he used to do exactly the same thing. And I remember at rallies he would point to the New York Times guy, Drummond Ayers was his name, and he would say to him, "That man's from the New York Times. The New York Times does this." One day Drummond had his 9-year-old son with him. The son was terrified. After the rally was over, Wallace called him to come to his hotel room. The little boy goes in there, terrified. Drummond says it's okay. Wallace picks up the little boy, puts him on his lap, and says, "Don't you pay that? No, never mind. It's just politics." And I think that's what this is with Trump. This is part of a show. And he loves Katie Tur, is going to be my guess.
The News and Observer situation in North Carolina strikes me as really just kind of meaningless symbolism in some ways, because he hasn't cut off access to the schedule for their sister paper, the Charlotte Observer. So all they have to do is, you know, share the schedule, and they haven't been cut out. So this is clearly just Richard Burr trying to make a statement about how much he hates the News and Observer. He's not actually
that one reporter.
He's not actually impeding their ability to report on him in any way. But apparently he thinks that this is going to be the formula that puts him over the top, and running against the media is a successful gambit sometimes.
Well, I'm guessing that with Mr. Burr that he is concerned that now other people are reporting the kinds of things that I never knew about him, that he personally blocked, for example, 2 African-American women to go to court positions. Everybody else, fabulous, great, you know, and he just said, just don't want him, not putting him on there, just because I don't want him. Nothing, you know, that had to do, that's just who he is. That stuff has come out. It's definitely impacting the African-American vote. And so he wants Colin Campbell to stop reporting about stuff like that. That's the first thing. The second thing is that this attack on Katie Tur and other women journalists specifically is very, very dangerous. And it's more than, to me, than George Wallace, even in that period. I mean, that was ugly, and it shouldn't have happened. But this now, we're talking about her personal safety. It was at a point where the Secret Service had to walk her to her car. That's the level of concern these people have for her. So this is some serious business. For Trump not to get that or to traffic in that is awful. And other people need to be saying something about it.
Well, and it's going to become much more serious business if he should win on Tuesday. because that will validate a whole type of politics and a whole line of approach that didn't start with Donald Trump, but he certainly has aggressively pursued it to an extent I've never seen on the presidential level. Now, I'm hesitant for any of us to be seen as a bunch of whiners, crybabies. There's no crying in baseball. There shouldn't be in journalism. If you throw sharp elbows at a politician, guess what? You're going to get one back. I get all that, and a lot of that's par for the course. But certainly inciting violence against reporters or anyone is out of bounds. And if he wins, watch, this tactic is going to become a much bigger part of our political life.
And I want to make it clear that we're not talking about someone who feels that they have not got, the story has not been told well, and they have been maligned in a way that's inappropriate not to speak up. That's not what we're talking about. This goes beyond that. That's not what we're saying.